Coming up on News Watchin', United Auto Workers on strike.
Disaster lands in Lakehurst.
And surprise, surprise, Peter Johann, a new public failure.
You're watching News Watchin'.
From state police this afternoon, troopers found the body of 36-year-old Bailey Young in a wooded area in the town of Salina. The Maddie Dow woman was reported missing over the weekend after her family said she went on a walk and never came back. State police said there is no signs of foul play and an autopsy will determine an official cause of death. The investigation is ongoing.
Cornell University and the city of Ithaca are moving forward with a preliminary funding agreement for the next 20 years, but there are still a couple of hurdles to be dealt with. Under the preliminary agreement, Cornell would contribute $4 million to the city each year for the next 20 years, as adjusted for inflation. That's an increase from the $1.6 million the university contributes currently. Negotiators with Cornell and the city met in the middle of their previous proposals of $3.1 million and $5 million respectively. The agreement is currently awaiting sign-off from the Cornell Board of Trustees and approval from the Ithaca Common Council. The council is slated to vote on the matter this Wednesday.
Governor Kathy Hochul is rolling out a $55 million plan to tap the brakes on rising car thefts. The goal focuses on supporting local police agencies. Last month, Onondaga County, 75% of the break-ins in the state are Kias and Hyundais. 2/3 of them are happening in Rochester and Buffalo, costing cities and state millions. If you own a Kia or a Hyundai, you should get a letter from the state this week with steps you can take to strengthen anti-theft protections. Well, United Car Auto Workers and heading into their first full week striking against Detroit's Big Three auto union. It is looking for a 40% pay increase that is the same as what they say the CEO earned over the past 4 years. The strike ripple effects now temporarily lay off about 2,600 non-striking employees. The layoffs to jobs are looking for jobs. A new state law now requires employers to list how much the job pays when they post the ad. It's part of the salary transparency law signed by Governor last year. It's only been in effect for 24 hours, but it's meant to give women and people of color a tool to advocate for equal pay for equal work. Employees with at least 4 workers have to disclose salary ranges for any job advertised publicly or internally. It also applies to remote roles outside of New York. If their supervisor in office is based in the state, the law does not apply to government agencies or temporary help firms.
Disaster has befallen the giant German airship Hindenburg. She was blown to pieces in a mysterious explosion when about to moor at Lakehurst, New Jersey on the first anniversary of her maiden flight to America. 1/3 of her reported total passengers have perished, the death toll clocking in currently at 35. The time was 6:23 p.m. An explosion rent the air so loud one person said he heard it at Point Pleasant, 15 miles away. The stern broke into flames. Bystanders, unable to comprehend it, unable to believe it, gasped. The happy shouts of arriving passengers turned to shrieks of dying men and women. Smiling faces of spectators became tear-splotched. More explosions followed. Intermittently, they continued for hours. Passengers and crew, those who were elsewhere than in the blazing stern, jumped from the burning vessel. Speaking of crashing and burning, Ithaca College professor and TikTok sensation Pete Johans has more than one failed business venture. It has become common knowledge that Pete's talent coaching company, TV Coaches, never quite took off. But our experts in the field have done some digging and discovered yet another television flop. According to his Ithaca College faculty bio, Pete is the creator and executive producer of reality game show Assemble This. In his own words, the concept of the show pits 2 couples against each other as they compete to assemble a typical frustrating household item like a bookcase or a bicycle. Pete hired over 30 students and used 10 HD cameras to produce 3 pilot episodes and pitched the concept to TLC and HGTV. Nothing has been heard about the project since 2015, and now we know never start a business with Pete Johans, and Ithaca College hasn't updated their faculty bios in 8 years.
You might want to cut back on your work hours if you hit the next Powerball. Tonight's jackpot dollars is the 10th largest Powerball in history. If you win this big prize, that's a cash payout of more than $300 million. In February, over $700 million jackpot was won by a ticket in Washington. And in July, a California ticket landed over $1 billion prize. Both prizes ranked largest in lotto history.
It's safe to say just about everyone knows that person. That one person they just can't stand, that drives them crazy and they wish they never saw again. Simply put, a complete and total asshole. Now, a new study is revealing the personality traits and most likely people who are the assholes in your life. Researchers from the University of Georgia say that the most likely people to be the biggest assholes in someone's life are middle-aged men. Just to be clear, however, these aren't the only individuals who display signs of assholery. The team surveyed nearly 400 people, asking each one to think about the biggest asshole in their life and the personality traits they display regularly. Respondents most often claim that these people are men who major in sports media. Victoria, I've got to say, I'm shocked.
Are you really shocked, though? I feel like, though, there is times where I'm walking and doing my thing in class, and sometimes there's a sports media person that kind of literally just goes all over the place.
Stay safe out there, folks. Coming up next on News Watch, and Donald Trump is serving in his mugshot.
Ukrainian President Zelensky rallies support for Kyiv at the UN General Assembly.
And Peter Johans attempts a micropenis world record.
You're watching News Watching. Stay tuned.